call it the Great Empty. 3.5 million square miles of bone-dry silence. But the sand is a liar. It's a shroud, not a void. 10,000 years ago, this was the Garden of Eden, a world of monsoon rains and megalakes. But then, the tilt of the earth shifted. The rain stopped. The world died. Traditional history tells us that when the green world died, the people simply fled. They moved to the rivers, chased the rain, and left the desert to the ghosts. But as the sun turned the surface into a kiln, perhaps some didn't run. They dug. They didn't just disappear into the archives of time. They retreated beneath the thermal shield of the earth. You aren't looking at a wasteland. You're looking at the roof of a fortress, a graveyard for some, but for others, a hidden cradle for a lost human era. Could the Sahara be the graveyard of a civilization that didn't just disappear, but went underground to survive? Tonight, we peel back the layers of time to find the lost era of the subterranean Sahara. The sand is a shroud, and beneath it, a story waits. For decades, we ignored the Garamantes. History dismissed them as simple nomads. But they were masters of an engineering feat that defies their era, the Foggara. Beneath this wasteland lies an invisible lattice of tunnels and vents. Foggara, a word for lifelines cut into the bones of the Sahara. Without rivers, they turned the desert itself into a reservoir. Imagine vertical shafts dropping 40 feet, meeting a horizontal artery that runs for miles. Each shaft drew water from a perched aquifer, feeding fields beyond the horizon. Multiply that by thousands. Over 600 miles of tunnels, stitched with precision. This was not improvisation. It was a culture of geology, math, and time. Their survey lines suggest astronomical planning, keeping gradients steady and safe. But recent surveys hint at something more, hidden in the Ubari Sand Sea. Blocks far too large for irrigation show up as vaulted volumes. These look like living quarters. They look like streets. So were the Garamantes merely the last inheritors of an even older, deeper civilization? To survive here, you either bend the land or you break. Their stonework locks like puzzle pieces, distributing weight underground. Ventilation wasn't accidental. It was engineered to breathe. Mineral scars tell us water once moved, predictably and in volume. The surface was the facade. The machine ran below. We called them nomads. Their works argue otherwise. Trade flowed through these nodes: salt, glass, knowledge. Imagine footsteps echoing under dunes no one suspected. And then ask, who first carved the blueprint they inherited? The answer may lie in the lines we can barely see. So we turned to instruments that could peel back sand like X-ray vision. And in 2024, the Sahara began to answer. In 2024, teams using advanced LIDAR pointed their sensors at the so-called empty quarter. What they found shouldn't exist. The sand melted away. The ground told a different story. Multiple sites, same signature. These aren't caves. They are geometric, symmetrical. Deep beneath the Tenere Desert, anomalous geometric patterns extend for kilometers. This is urban planning. Grids, plazas, districts, buried 50 feet deep. A footprint rivaling Roman complexity, but inverted into the earth. Independent teams ran new passes to rule out artifacts. Different wavelengths, same returns. GPR profiles dovetailed with LIDAR edges like teeth in a gear. Voids, masonry, infill, mapped with uncomfortable clarity. Here, an axial boulevard, nearly a kilometer long. Hubs where traffic converged. Courtyards repeating like a heartbeat. Terrace depth, levels stacked for function and safety. The data hit hard, but it demanded caution. Could this be polygonal cracking? Dune dynamics? We stress-tested every counter. Nature loves fractals. This loves right angles. Strip the noise, the pattern persists. At 50 feet, the footprint stabilizes, too deep for recent drift alone. Dunes move. These don't. Scattered organics pin activity to the tail of the African humid period. Once, this was green. Then the sky closed. A ghost city mapped onto dunes. Large bays hint at storage, workshops, or something we don't yet have a word for. Housing, arranged like careful ledger lines. And a central plenum, a lung for a buried metropolis. We can't just dig. The desert is delicate, and the past even more so. So we model, we listen, we wait for the sand to speak again. And the more we look, the more the plan coheres. If this is what the instruments are telling us, then Act 4 asks the only question that matters. Was this desperate survival or deliberate strategy? If you think living underground is impossible, look at Cappadocia. Derinkuyu housed 20,000 people. It had schools, wine cellars, and ventilation. Now place that capability beneath a harsher sun. Different rock, same logic. Move air, move life. As the African humid period collapsed, surface temperatures could hit 55 degrees Celsius. Go down 10 meters, and the Earth becomes a shield. Going down wasn't a choice. It was the only way to stay human. Controlled heat, controlled air, comfort without the sun, a thermal shield by design. Picture a grand hall, stone pillars, flickering lamps, quiet voices, water coursing through the city's veins, storage, rationing, resilience, vent stacks pulling air like lungs, spaces to gather, to teach, to remember the rain. First came abundance, then the sky starved the land. The grid grows in phases, measured, deliberate. Surface life recedes as the city expands below. This wasn't panic digging, it was planning. Strategy meetings under stone while the desert raged above. Like Cappadocia, choke points suggest defense. But here, climate was the invader. Acoustics tuned to carry signals through stone. Light rationed, placed like punctuation. Everything moves, nothing wasted. A city that taught its children how to endure. Was it survival or was it a bet that the desert would someday relent? A civilization that chose to breathe through stone. And if LIDAR is right, then under these dunes lies a blueprint for surviving the end of a world and building another. Imagine the desert as a thermal shield. A blazing skin above, a cool world below. Heat scours the top, but it preserves the voids underneath. Where would you hide libraries, granaries, workshops, concentric rings above and potentially below, mirroring a plan we've only read about? If scans hint at voids, the roof theory gains weight. What we see isn't always what we have. And if there was a city, its best chance at survival would be inside the rock itself. Not on the dunes, but under them. Across the Sahara, ring geology isn't rare. Nature makes rings. The question is, did anyone follow that blueprint underground? In wetter ages, this wasn't madness, it was engineering, a plan buried by time and sand. The eye stares back, and we stare into our own past. If there's a city, it's not lost. It's layered, and we have new ways to see it. We are at the frontier of a new kind of archaeology. We no longer need shovels to see the past. We need light. The Sahara is a vast, locked vault, and we've just found the keyhole. If these cities are real, they don't just change African history, they change the story of humanity. Are we the first advanced civilization to walk these sands? Or are we just the ones living on the roof of a much older world? The evidence is etched into the very bedrock of our planet, waiting for us to stop looking at the horizon and start looking beneath our feet. If a civilization of this scale truly existed, what else did they leave behind in the deep? Are we walking over the greatest library of human history, or a warning of what happens when a world turns to dust? We want to hear your theories. Is the Rishat structure truly the key to a lost era, or is this something entirely new? Drop a comment below with your thoughts. If you want to be here when we peel back the next layer of the world's greatest mysteries, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications.